Seven top tips. A lot of these tips have come from my experience working with young people, but really just to help you through facilitations. When you do a delivery, it's very important to make sure everything's in place. So what I'd always say is to make sure you've got all of the combinations in order for it to open up. And my first one would be about your dress, the way you're dressed. How are you dressed? I often say to people, wear something bright. Why? Because you gain attention. You're someone different. And when you're speaking, you're someone different anyway. Your second part is your introduction. You know, it is how you actually engage. That first, they say your first 15 seconds is critical, because if you don't pick them up then, you're probably going to lose them. So what have you got to say which is going to be, wow, I didn't know that. Then you've got to think about how you're going to hold their attention. So you kind of set the situation. It's like, well, I'm going to tell you something that's probably going to change your life. And then you get to the actual material, the actual reason why you're saying what you're saying. Use of body language. I often ask a question, for example, has anyone been on a bus before? Okay, hands down. Did you notice, what did I do there? Put my hand up. Yeah, it's an old professional speakers thing, but I do it all the time. I ask a question that I know everyone is going to answer probably yes to. And what's happening, you're getting the audience to really live the situation you've just created. And that's why I made it one of the first tips, really, because if you're not using your body effectively, it doesn't matter what comes out of my mouth, because you're thinking, why is he jumping around frantically when he's trying to say something serious? So your body language is everything. Become a storyteller, or be a storyteller. Life's about telling stories, isn't it? And when you talk about a story that everyone's probably experienced, so for example, have you ever been on a bus before where the bus conductor said, again, you're engaging the story, so then you deliver your message. Again, think of a story, think of things that have happened to you that you just makes you chuckle, or things that have just thought, that's just outrageous, because I will guarantee it's happened to everyone, yeah? Because that's what life's all about. Every experience is not unique. The important thing when it comes to young people, as I stated in the workshop, is to start talking about things that you know young people have experienced. So one of the things I often say is, ever had a situation where a teacher's ignored what you've said when you had a really good point? And why did that happen? And then what often happens is you get a bit of negativity, but you can then take the negative bits out and put the positives in. The most important thing is to try to link your story with their reality. Engage the audience, use the audience. One of the things I think is most important is not to be the main figure. It's about the audience, and they want a message. And often the best message is when it's from their peers. So often I say, need a volunteer. Yeah, and when you normally get someone that puts their hand up, and if not, you can joke and say, well, look, you know, I'm going to drag out of the audience if you don't put your hand up. Or if you're holding a pen in your hand, I want you to volunteer. Or put your hands up if you don't want to volunteer. And if there's someone smiling, then maybe pull them forward. And the whole idea is to kind of get your message across with the person up the front. So you might need maybe 1 or 2 people, and then do a role play. I think it's important when everyone sees the role play, because then it becomes real, because then when they do the role play in their groups, it's like, yeah, we saw Jamie do it. Ask them. Yeah, ask them. Think very carefully again about asking questions. I try to avoid the word I if I can, because it's not about me, it's about the group. And what's happening, you're getting the audience to really live the situation you've just created. Because once they're there, you can then tell a story around it. So the most important thing is to get them to live what you've just said. And if you don't, you're going to have that, well, no, it's never happened to me before. So think it very general, but also get them thinking about what situation they've been in, and how you can then apply your whatever message is to what they've just said or what you've just said. When you've got a young person or someone in the group that disagrees with you, don't ever say they're wrong. Just say, oh, that's an interesting point of view. If you turn around and say, you're wrong, A, that's the end of the conversation. B, they're then thinking, well, I think I'm right. And they go away in another mindset. But if you open up to me, then I can say, oh, okay, that's how you feel. So you've got that ability to make that person's opinion become more of an open forum, rather than you saying, wrong, I don't think you're right. Always understand that whatever people say, and it might be wrong, it might be very seriously wrong, but it's where they're coming from. Think about what you say. When I was your age, that never happened to me. The reality is they can't relate to when you were younger. You can't relate to 20 minutes ago because that's gone, that's the past. So the reality is avoid saying things like when I was your age, because what that does, it just makes me realise as a young person how disengaged you are with me, because you're talking about maybe 10 years, maybe 20, could be even 30 years ago. So how would you engage a young person by saying that? Be comfortable laughing at yourself. Young people often do their jargons, you know, and what I do, I'll pick up on something and say, what does that mean? Because I haven't got a clue. That's so important, because then the young people think, okay, he's not trying to be like us. Started talking about Facebook, and they said, that's for old people, Facebook. And I said, really? So what's the latest one? And they told me, right. And then what I did on purpose is I pronounced it incorrectly, and they all started laughing. Yes, they were laughing at me. I came to deliver the session. That guy wanted to listen to what I had to say. Why? Because he'd educated me. So he was prepared for me to educate him. What I'm going to do is give you little samples of the session using bits of what I've spoken about, the 7 tips. Don't say anything to him, but give him the impression that you don't like him, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, but don't say anything to him, right? And a bus stop, walking past him, yeah, okay, and go. I'm scared, and he weren't even looking at me. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, pretty uncomfortable.
Rare. Can you see the use of body language? Now this is an exercise you can do with the young people. What they normally do is everyone stands up and get into groups, but I love doing this 2 up the front so we can kind of have a bit of a laugh with it and then break them into groups. Do you see what I mean? How did you feel doing it? Did you actually fall into role? Did everyone see the posture? Did you see everything change? Yeah, and it was automatic, switch straight away. Give them both a round of applause, please. Thank you very much indeed. If you look at Dr. Mehibian's 7%, 38%, 55%, it talks about words only being 7%. Tone, paralinguistics, isn't it? How many times your mum called your name and you know you're in trouble? Yeah? Even now my mum calls my name, it's like, yeah, coming, yeah? Because of the way she said it. So paralinguistics is about your tone. Last one is body language. I do want another volunteer, yet another volunteer. Why don't you just stand around the thing? Okay, right, very quickly. What I'm going to do, I'm going to talk to her and move closer to her. With your proximity, you always often feel quite comfortable when people move near you. I've never been on a bus before, someone's in your space. I'll move closer to her and watch her naturally move away because you feel comfortable when you've got your space. Let's watch again. So just tell me about some of the stuff you did today, what you've been doing today generally.
Well, we sat downstairs.
Okay, what was the talk like? What was it about?
It was about what we're going to be doing as brand agents.
Okay, and what did you kind of get from that talk? What did you find from it?
Well, we know where we're going from here and what we're going to be doing next year.
Okay, so next year, is there going to be a lot of stuff going on, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So what type of stuff do you think is going to be going on?
You're getting personal.
It's that element though, isn't it? When we have that personal space and being aware. Give a round of applause, please. Thank you very much indeed. Show no communication to the group, and I'll give you £50, okay? Are you ready? And action. What's the message, guys? He's off. He's had enough. He's gone. And it's about your body language, and your body language says so much. So it's very important to bear in mind how we do communicate. Words are important by all means, but tonality, yeah, the way I say something really just sums up really what's going through my mind, yeah? And ultimately my body language says everything. So think very carefully when it comes to communication. Final slide, guys, really is looking at this. I mean, I love the way they've broken this down. It's all about perception, isn't it? So what's just right for yourself could be totally wrong for someone else, but there is a spectrum. It's about reciprocation, isn't it? So when you do smile, you smile back, yeah? Looking into people's eyes. Nod to agree in conversations we were having. A lot of the times when you were speaking, and it was genuine as well, I was just nodding my head, just to make sure that the message is getting through. Think about your hands and your feet. I'm making a point, obviously, so you can see the screen. But when I do communicate, especially when I say something positive, I tend to walk forward slightly, yeah? If it's a negative point, I'm stepping back and my hands are normally below my hips. Show you're listening. I often, on purpose, just say, so what you mean? You actually mean that, and just like do a reflection on that conversation. And I love asking questions because then you find out about the person you're going to be with. Like I said, I know someone's from Coventry here, people from Coventry here. It's really important to get those nuggets of information. What I often try to do is, if I find out his name, for example, Jamie, I say, Jamie, tell me something that you've done. And I've probably had a conversation with Jamie before. Yeah, so it's kind of preloaded, yeah. I'm looking for someone that's interested in cars. Jamie loves cars, yeah. Now, Jamie's kind of fighting that can't put my hand up kind of thing. Well, I want to put my hand up because I love doing it. Or perhaps speak to the head teacher or the teacher and find out the ones that are a bit quiet. I actually love the overconfident ones because then they can form a form of driving it through and bringing them through. So if I've got someone like Andy, yeah, very confident individual, probably say, Andy, tell me what you do, blah, 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 get him talking, and then kind of get him to kind of be more like a monitor of the group. So I'll say, Andy, who do you know that's really kind of good at whatever's in the classroom? Oh, well, Jamie's good at cars, because that's what he will say, yeah? Oh, Jamie, good at cars? Yeah, not too bad. Oh, thanks so much for letting me know about Andy, I didn't know that. And so you've got Andy being a positive person. But don't ever try to just act as if they're not there, because they are, and they will cause even more damage. So try to bring them, involve them. I often, if I get a talkative table, and it's perhaps Andy, I say, Andy, what do I want you to do? And I know Andy's doing all the talking. Andy, what do I do? If anyone's talking the table, right, let me know, yeah?